I used to wonder one thing, and now I wonder two. One, I wondered what Obama would do if he ever got elected. And we saw it was horrible. And the second thing I wondered, after about 6 years of him in the office, I wondered, what would he do at the end? Or even recently, I've been wondering, what would he do at the very end of his term? Would he do a Hail Mary crazy thing, wilder and more liberal than anything he's ever done before? What would his true intentions come out at the very end? And well, we're seeing it right now. What would be the most outlandish, stupidest thing that the United States could do? Bomb and attack Israel, God's chosen country. You know, the land that he promised them, the land of inheritance, the land where Messiah will reign and rule for 1,000 years. So wouldn't the dumbest thing be for us to attack Israel, to try to destroy Israel? What Obama did, what he did, he didn't just give $400 million to Iran that we saw in the news reports on the pallets and in euros and all different currencies of the world, because technically it was illegal to pay in dollars. He's unbelievable. It's like a street thug, you know. Oh, well, we'll trade heroin for cocaine because it's illegal to use heroin in this particular area. It's just goofy as all get up. Or we use pharmaceuticals that are legal. We write a big prescription for 1 million doses and put it on the street. That might be legal, but it's immoral. And technically, in courts, usually when somebody does an end run like that, it's actually illegal. So, what is he doing now? It's not just $400 million. We're finding out now it's $1.7 billion. $1.7 billion, presumably of taxpayer dollars. But he won't tell Congress where he got the money. $1.7 billion, and none of the 437 or 38 members of Congress even know where the money came from? I thought it was Congress that was supposed to initiate legislation and this and that. Now, the executive branch is supposed to enforce the laws, and then if there's an issue, then the Supreme Court, the third part of our check and balance system, kicks in. Well, the courts in general, ultimately the Supreme Court. So where's the outrage? Obama just gave away $1.7 billion to Iran, the world's largest sponsor of terrorism, who has promised to annihilate Israel from the map. So if I hired a hitman and the hitman pulled the trigger, am I innocent? If Obama says, here, Iran, here's $1.7 billion, go annihilate Israel, is he at fault? Or are we at fault? We elected him. Or we collectively. I didn't vote for him. Well, talk to your congressman. If you've never talked to a congressman before, just go up to him and say, I'd like to know where that money came from. What is the proper process? What is the law? Should he be in jail or should he be given a medal? Tell me about this Obama guy, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. We want to know about the law. Is it legal to do what he's doing? Is it moral to do what he's doing? Ask the questions. Get to know your congressman. Maybe you could even see your U.S. senator. That's unlikely. You know, there's only 2 per state, but you could try. But be the squeaky wheel and get the oil, and oil the rust bucket called the United States, where the gears are closing down, and the economy is being smothered because we have socialism, and fascism is more like it. And by the way, fascism is liberal. It's socialism, except government technically lets you own the hot dog in your name, but doesn't let you eat the hot dog, or tells you what you need to do to eat the hot dog. You can own a piece of property, they tax you to death, and they tell you what you can do with it. Let you own a business, but they regulate it to death. People naively call Hitler a conservative. What a joke. It's one of the biggest lies ever perpetuated on the planet. He was a liberal. He was a socialist. Socialism was in his name of his party, for heaven's sake. So no, it's a liberal fascist system we live in today in the United States, and we have to switch it back to a free republic again. So talk to your congressman and tell him something radical, like, we'd like you to honor the Constitution. We'd like to be a republic again instead of a fascist state. And we'd like to know why Obama is not behind bars. And for that matter, why is Hillary Clinton walking around in a green jumpsuit instead of an orange jumpsuit? She should be in jail. The State Department was for sale. It's clear. Even Associated Propaganda, AP, Associated Press, they're even running. It's so bad now, they have to report the truth. I mean, sometimes a beach ball can be held underwater, submerged for only so long before it slips and comes to the surface. And the last man standing, you know, wins the game. And if Associated Press were to duck for cover all the way to the end until everybody was arrested that they were covering, they might start to look at the management of Associated Press to see what kind of conspiracy was going on. Were they paid off? Who paid them off to submerge the truth all this time? And that's a good question. When this whole thing is done, when it's found out that the State Department was for sale, that over $150 million of cash Hillary Clinton took with Bill Clinton for the Clinton Foundation and other charitable things, which, by the way, they're their own best charity. Follow the money. Oh, Hillary's good at that. She always says, follow the money, but she doesn't say follow it to her. But $150 million, including $30 million paid by an Arab sheikh. Why do you think they never say Islamic terrorism? Why do you think you never hear Obama or Hillary Clinton say Islamic terrorism? Why do you think they never acknowledge the enemy? Why does Obama never say he's at war? I'm telling you, we got rich oil nations that don't want the truth out, that pay off people to make sure they lie for them or obscure the truth. And it's very clear. One Arab sheikh gives $32 million to Hillary. Before that, he couldn't get a meeting. All of a sudden, hey, $32 million later, he gets a meeting. That's not right. That's not moral. That's not legal. Talk to your congressman about that while you're at it. But you know what? This is what I'm going to wrap it up with. And this is speculative. You could call me a conspiracy theorist, but call. I have a theory. And I hope you share this with other people so they can think you're a nut job like me for thinking stuff like this. Nut job in quotes. Why doesn't Congress act? I've got a theory. I think they got something called a camera. I think they've got things called hookers. I think they got things called drugs. I think they got things called payola. I think they got things called Swiss bank accounts. I think over half of our congressmen are bribed or blackmailed, threatened to be killed, or rewarded with millions of dollars in a Swiss bank account. I hate to say it, but it's come to that. There's no other rational explanation why even the good guys don't speak up. Why don't they ever overturn an executive order that's unconstitutional? Since when does the president get to write laws? Congress is supposed to do that. Since when is Congress supposed to look the other way or stick their head in the sand when all this stuff happens? It's evil that's happening. It's sheer, unadulterated evil. They're raping our country. They're pillaging our people. They're stealing from us. And it's in broad daylight. When one of the most liberal reporting organizations in the world in the history of planet Earth says Hillary Clinton is a crook in so many words. Look what she just did. Associated Press is saying that now, that the State Department is for sale. The New York newspaper, New York Post, New York, I forgot what they called it, one of the big letters. They're now saying state for sale. With Hillary, it's the state for sale, the big headline. But we're looking at it. We don't know what to do as a people. What do we do? I mean, before, in prior generations, it's like, oh my goodness, you find out the bad thing happens, they arrest the people, everything's fine. It doesn't happen anymore. We're like a two-bit banana republic, like things that used to happen in Mexico. This stuff would make Mexico blush. It's crazy. We once were the biggest creditor nation in the world, meaning the richest nation in world history. We have now become the biggest debtor nation in world history. Never anybody more in debt. There's no banana republic as far in debt as we are. We're like a cancer patient, full of the gills of cancer, dead, but we haven't fallen over yet. This needs to be turned around. And what does Hillary want? More welfare, more socialism, more fascism, more favors, 8 more years of Obama. And she's a crook. She's crooked. She's a pathological liar. Please, even people who are for Hillary, listen, I wasn't for Donald Trump at one time. I was very much against him. I was for Mike Huckabee. I was for Ben Carson. There's 3 or 4 other candidates who were fine too. Donald Trump was not at the top of my list. But I've come to a conclusion that even though he's a loose cannon, at least loose cannons shoot and try to protect us. So hold your nose and consider Trump, but don't vote for Hillary. Don't even let her get to the ballot box. Have her at least step down, preferably step down and get arrested. Because if she gets elected, she's going to give herself an EP. No, it's not extra special person, although that's how she views herself. An EP. an executive pardon with a stroke of a pen. She signs a document that says, I forgive me for all illegal actions I did. And she'd have the right to do that as president, or at least precedent says it can be done. So do you really want to see Jezebel in the office signing herself an executive pardon and having 8 years, at least 4, but she might rig the system to get 8 years, 8 more years of Obama or worse? And those who say never Trump, let me say, there's an old saying, never say never. Don't say never Trump. You could say Trump not for now, but what if Trump turned into the greatest human being on earth? What if he's sorry for everything he ever did, and he really was even better than Ronald Reagan? Ronald Reagan was a liberal. He was pro-abortion. He was all sorts of things. He was the registered Democrat. He eventually came around in his old age, became one of the greatest presidents we ever had. And I think Donald Trump could be more conservative than Reagan. I don't know for sure. We don't know for sure what we'll get with Trump, but we do know for sure what we'll get with Hillary. Enslavement, Jezebel type of ruling from the throne. We know that already because she's already doing it. We know what her foreign policy would be like. You know, globalist, defying us, defecting, abandoning, betraying. Look at Benghazi. I mean, she literally, go see the movie, she literally sat there and let our people get killed. Not only our ambassador, Chris Stevens, but the other people in Benghazi, the brave soldiers that were outnumbered. We have got more firepower than anybody on earth. We could have, like that, gotten them over there. Hillary kept saying, no, 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 let them die. Let them die. I don't want an incident. I don't want a high profile. But you know what? Whenever she sweeps dust under the rug, it gets to be a bigger lump under that rug. Her husband calls her lumpy. Not sure exactly why, but she likes lumps under rugs, okay? You can only sweep the dust under the rug so long, and it comes up in a bump. It's full of dust, dirt, and scum, and that's what she's done. She put off her own email scandal. She could have let it go months earlier and said, oh, okay, no problem. Hey, I was wrong. I blew it, blah, blah, blah. And then it'd be old news by now. But instead, she sweeps it under the rug like an arrogant person would, like it'll never come and bite her. That's what Jezebel did. I will always rule and reign with the queen. I will never be dead. They'll never overthrow me. And guess what? As they're coming to overthrow her, what did Jezebel do? Queen Jezebel, who took over after Ahab was gone. By the way, Bill Clinton was very much like Ahab. Study the Bible and you see. Study ancient scriptures, the ancient scrolls. Jezebel put on makeup at the very end. She put on makeup, green makeup. It's specific, green and some other colors. Because she was, there's a word for her, I won't say it. But she put on the makeup right at the bitter end before her slaughter. And he threw her out of the window, up, second or third floor, whatever, threw her out down to the ground where she was eaten by dogs.